All right, my ladies, what do you say? We take it to the max. I'm so excited to have you both here with me. I have Liz Short, CEO of Short Solutions. I have Lindsay Meyer, SVP of Business Development for EPM. And my ladies, those are your day job titles. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the secondary purpose, the secondary position, the secondary job, your secondary title, co-authors in the book Rethink Everything You Know About Networking. Thank you both for being here. How are you?
So good.
Wonderful. Yeah,
So pumped.
really excited to be having this conversation with you today.
It's perfectly timed. As of this episode dropping, the book will have officially been out for one whole day. So this is perfectly timed. We just did a really quick Max convo, but of course, there's so much more that we need to dive into here. Really quickly, though, for anyone who maybe didn't watch Max Convos, Lindsay, go ahead, give me the inspiration again behind why you decided to start this book up.
The inspiration was in myself. I was intuitive, asked Kyle Draper after meeting him and seeing him speak at a company expo, and was wondering, why can't I do this? And I felt like networking is very important to all of us, no matter what age, and knew the right people to fit in the puzzle. So thank you, ladies, both for being a part of the book too. As you know, it's been such an incredible journey, and I can take you with me forever.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you both for the opportunity and inviting me into it. It really was such a pleasure. Liz, what about for you? What was it about this project that you were just like, yep, I've got to be a part of that?
I've had so much success in my business that I started 3 years ago based on networking and the people that I've met networking. And, Lindsay is the best connector that I know.
She
And
is.
so when she asked me to be a part about a book on networking, I knew there was no way that this wasn't going to be an amazing thing to partner with her on, because we just work so well together, but a great opportunity that would lead to so much more. And it definitely has.
Oh, that's amazing. And where you both bring such unique perspectives to networking. Liz, you are the systems and the strategy side. Lindsay, I feel like you are the approachable and human connector side. So, with that, how would you both personally define networking in your day to day lives?
It's hard to think of networking outside of my day-to-day life. For any interaction I have, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm networking and what can I get out of this? But from the time I drop my daughter off at school to making phone calls, touching, base with people based on who my CRM is alerting me to follow up with I haven't talked to in a month, having consistency and making time for those conversations. It's just been, really, really critical. So I would have to say, I would have to look back at my day and say, when was I not networking? And was that maybe time I needed? And maybe you need to not network sometimes. So I'm going
That
to lean
sounds
that
like
way.
you. That is you. That is you to a T. You are the ultimate connector. Liz, what about for you?
I mean, I'm new to networking from that word in what it means officially, right? 3 years ago, I kind of stepped into a different role, owning my own business. Of course, I got to get out there and meet people. But to me, network is about connection. And connection is something that I've grown up with my whole entire life. It's something that I was taught to do. My mother was, amazing at connecting to people. I grew up in a small town where you knew everyone, you waved at everyone. Lindsay, your story. And so, I really just think it's something that naturally I was raised to do, and I have now understood is actually networking, because networking is just connecting and building a community.
I love that. And I want to go ahead and parlay that perfectly with Lindsay. Your perspective is so sweet and so refreshing that networking can start from something as simple as a wave. Can you explain to me what that metaphor means to you?
I think it's just being open to communication. whether it's a nod, as I mentioned, and you're running down the street in the morning, it almost makes me feel awkward if I don't acknowledge someone. And it's like you're just two ships passing in the night without, any lights. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to use that, analogy as far as I think it's just important to make the effort and keep your eyes open and up. Stay off your cell phones, interact with people, and most of all, just be safe and look around you. Be aware.
Yeah,
So,
right. It's
yeah,
so surprising to me and so shocking to me. I have all of these just phenomenal conversations with people in airport lounges and airplanes, my home away from home.
right.
And it's funny because I'll tell different people about them and the various people and like celebrities that I've met, or just fascinating business people, or entrepreneurs who I'm just like, oh my gosh, you have the coolest perspective on these things. And it's exactly that. It is being open, it is being willing to actually engage with people, and it is being conscientious of keeping my cell phone put away when I'm in those settings. And don't get
Mhm.
me wrong, there are times where I get on the plane and naturally I do have to just buckle down and get some work done. But trusting that intuition and trusting in the conversation around me really has opened up just some phenomenal relationships. So I really do love and appreciate that approach. Liz, you talk about networking as both an art and a science. Can you break down what that means and where relationships and trust meet process and accountability?
I love that question. Yeah, I mean, I'm a process person at heart. My motto is get shit done. I come from an operations and technology background, so it's very hard for me to not look at a problem from a system solution on how to solve it. That being said, like I said before, I'm all about the people and the connection. And so the problem that I was trying to solve very early on is, oh my goodness, I'm meeting all these amazing people. I know that I need to keep building and fostering relationships with them. But after the first 6 months, you meet a lot of people. It's hard to keep track of everyone or remember. And so I really needed to solve the problem of how do I keep fostering these relationships of amazing people that I'm meeting, that I want to continue connecting with all across the country, right? And so that's kind of where the systems come in, of being able to keep organically building relationships, because I remind myself, oh, remember that awesome person? Let's have a conversation with them again, right? It's really a blend of using technology to be able to foster those authentic connections between people.
I'm going to come back to that in just a minute because I really appreciate your perspective on that. As someone who tends to run my follow-ups in my head, I'm like, it's not the most resourceful, and I know that there's so much more that I should be doing and can be doing, and I really think that that is where for so many people deals fall apart, or networking falls apart, or opportunities are missed. So I definitely want to come back to that. But before I do, Lindsay, for you, in a world where it feels like everyone is pitching and selling, why do you think those small, approachable gestures are so powerful?
Look, the pitch and the sell is important, but in order to get people to listen, they want to feel like people. So I think having that connection, reaching out on LinkedIn, just, hey, glad we, connected today and you had questions on a file. It could be anything. And just acknowledging that person and making sure that you do take a second, put a little note out there that's special to the moment you had. And then, in my world, I'd add it to my CRM and start a check-in, maybe 2 weeks later. So that's
Amazing.
that's how I think of
That's
that. Yeah.
that's perfect. That's perfect. And Liz, this kind of brings me back to your structure, right? And both of you have brought up your CRMs and reminders and follow-up plans. What do you think the typical person, typical LO who's most likely listening to this, how can they find the tools that are best suited for them for managing their network? What would your advice to them be?
I mean, you can use a notepad and a piece of paper. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, right? I think people actually get too caught up in the tool and don't focus on the process. So the first thing I would recommend is get it out of your head, LaDonna, and get it on at least a piece of paper or in an Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
Your process, whatever you build in the beginning, is not going to be where it ends. And so instead of putting the technology first, put your process first, and then based on where your people live, pick your technology based on that. And what I mean is most of the folks that I meet are on LinkedIn. And so the technology that I use automatically allows me to hit a button and get all their contact information into my CRM.
Mm-hmm.
If your people are on Facebook, that's not going to do you any good. But again, it's not about what the best is. It's what the best is going to be for you once you've defined your process.
And P.S., Liz taught me that trick of how to get information into the CRM with one click. So reach out to Short Solutions if you're looking for a similar fix.
I was going to say that sounds like something everyone can utilize, this girl included. That sounds amazing. So reach out to Liz, get that tip and trick, because that's a hot tip is what that is.
I would love to share it.
One thing I want to bring up also,
please.
I think, in a lot of ways, how Liz and I have worked, like find a friend, find someone who maybe if you're newer at that company, who's been there for a while, knows the trick of the trade, set up a 30-minute, let's have coffee and I can ask questions. Use your own internal resources.
Yes, for sure. And I think you're both right. I think a lot of times people do overthink how they're going about their systems and what they're implementing. And so many people end up with so many tools. And then the next thing you know, they're not using any of them. So it's better to start simple and then build yourself out and build to where you know your people are at. Love that advice. Lindsay, you talk about the ripple effect. How, again, that one small wave can lead to unexpected opportunities. Do you have an example of this, something that, you had personally?
Well, my story touches on the Hawkeye wave, and it's a tradition that was created through one woman putting a suggestion in a Facebook group of Hawkeye fans. Hey, why don't we all turn and wave to the children at the hospital right above the field that are struggling? And why can't we do just that small gesture? So in my chapter, and also you can look it up, the first Hawkeye wave, I was an Iowa Hawkeye. So I do feel that I've experienced that moment and growth, and also see it across my socials of similar friends or people who went to Iowa. I mean, it's now known internationally. And so I encourage you to take a look, and so we can all experience that moment together. You don't have to just be a Hawkeye, but it's realizing in that moment, it just takes one suggestion, one ask, and you'll see the moment that it all happens. So that's been substantial. And I think it's important to not only have the kindness and thought about someone else, but take a pause and not even have to put it out in a mass campaign. It was just an effort and a movement. And you'll see that if you touch on the clips. So there's so many. I would have to sit and write it down, LaDonna. I would have to be like, okay, what's my next, wave movement? And I could have something for you. But I would say that stands out the most right now in my life.
It's so good. And I get chills hearing you talk about it. Liz, go ahead.
Well, I would also say that kind of the way, Lindsay, you and I met is an example of a small ripple that's turned into this, right? I think we were both at a conference. We either both or one of us tagged the conference that we were at on a social media post. A small thing to do, right? But that allowed us to connect on LinkedIn, and that connection has literally turned into us sitting here and having that conversation. And so, make the post, do the thing, reach out to the person. I think you never know what impact that's going to have. And
Yeah.
Lindsay, your story is such a powerful example of that.
Thanks.
No, it's so good. It's so good. And it's so on par for you. And like I'll share a connecting piece that we had. We were introduced to each other and connected immediately and could just tell that we had found kind of a kindred spirit in each other. And at the end of the night, you gave me a crystal.
Yeah.
And I said, "But why are you giving this to me?" And you said, "I don't know. I just feel like I should." And I love crystals. Absolutely love them. And I actually carried it with me in my suitcase for the past year. And
Ooh.
I just regifted it to
Aw.
someone that I was like, I feel like you could use
That's
this.
how you do it.
So, right. And it was just that one small gesture that it stood out to me and was so powerful to me. And like I said, has traveled all over the nation with me and now is serving its next highest purpose. So I'm so grateful to you for that.
Thank you for sharing.
Liz,
That's awesome.
yes, of course. Of course. Thank you for just being you and for doing things like that. Liz, you are known for get shit done. That is you. That is that catchphrase that we love so much. How do you simplify networking so that it doesn't feel like it becomes overwhelming or unsustainable?
I approach connections with curiosity, and I look to build relationships with people, not try to figure out how to fit them into a box.
Love that.
So I just think that allows me to connect to people who are like me, who like to solve the same problems as me, who have problems that I love to solve. And then just like amazing people like the two of you, right? That we just all connect so well. And I think really looking to not try and, even though I have a process, I'm not putting people into a box. I'm trying to figure out how can I make sure that with all the people that I connect to, we still are able to build those connections, even though we're not face to face.
Love that answer. Lindsay, for you, you are, like we just touched on, you are so authentic and you are so present and you are such a natural connector. What advice do you have for someone who maybe that doesn't come so naturally to, who is shy, who maybe doesn't have the confidence that you have in walking into an event to just
Yeah.
go over and strike up a conversation with someone? What advice do you have for them?
I think that just to know we all go through the insecurity or the lack of confidence at some point in our lives. If you check out our book, Rethink Everything You Know About Networking, there's many stories that are very different, but can relate to how you feel and give suggestions on what you can do. And I'd circle back to what I said on Liz's question. I think that if you find a friend, and it may be that person that's sitting off by themselves or a group of 2 or 3 people talking. They say three's not like a good size group. Add it to 4 or 5, like grow the group. And if you're just going to be quiet and standing there, that's okay, but do a little research too. Might not be about that people, but what do the rates look like that day? If you don't want to talk about rates, pick out, news that's happening or current, or a fun story that you can think of that just happened to yourself that would be funny to others to share. So I think it's just knowing that you tackle that feeling, it's okay, and get help from other people and check out our book and see what you come away with, and then reach out to us. We're happy
I
to
love
help
that.
you. Yeah.
I love kind of living by the approach of like, what's the worst that could happen? They don't like me. Okay. Some people don't like
You
me.
can
I'm
think
okay
of
with
the
that.
worst, but that 90 something percent of the time, that's not going to happen. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it really is that of just I'm going to go for it, and I like me, and hopefully other people like me, and if they don't, I'm okay with that too. So I think there's something so wonderfully authentic about when you approach networking in that way and treating it. My chapter of the book is about it being more of a two-way value exchange. And that is exactly how I treat it. Of what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? And it's incredible when you ask people that question, how differently they respond versus when you come at them with a pitch. And
Right.
I mean it. And people take me up on it. And nothing makes me happier than when they do, because it really does remove that wall that can exist between people when something is just so transactional. So I love and appreciate both of your perspectives so much about it. I think in kind of hitting the wrap up time for this, a couple of things that I just want to touch on before we have to wrap. A lot of people confuse being busy with being influential. What do you think is the difference between them? And how do you two build relationships that actually stick and are influential?
For me, LaDonna, I mean, the number one word there is strategy, right? I almost said being strategic, and I'm like, that's two words. But really making sure, I mean, there's a million things that I can do every single day as a business owner to build my network. I have to make sure that my time is spent with the ROI intended, right? And as a small
Mhm.
business owner with a small team, there is only so many new clients I can sign on at a time, right? And so it doesn't do me any good to meet 500 people. I need to meet the right folks and then continue to build relationships with the right folks. And so I think really strategy is what helps me define being busy from really being effective and being able to have that authority online as well too.
So great. So great. I think you are 100% right. It's amazing what a good strategy will do and how that will level up your game. So fabulous advice. What about you, my Lens? What do you think?
Honestly, Liz is probably the best that I've ever seen with strategy. And so I've learned a lot from her on how to follow up and why, even though those 500 contacts may not be critical, she will get all those emails and you will see her once a month and she will be in touch because she has a strategic process that's been built thoughtfully for each person and she wants to stay in touch. So, I think that learning that system, my family's built a CRM. I've been in this business for a very long time, but to feel comfortable and finding the right niche, right? The right fit and what works for that system, as Liz was saying before, plan it out first. And I think, you know, having a strategy and I'll just, maybe it's a little later in the day and be lazy, but I'll tackle on to Liz because I've really built my business and my knowledge and expertise on how I want to show up and she's helped me create something where that came true. So,
I think that's incredible. I really do. And I think a lot of people they just they don't have the thought power behind it. And so to hear someone outline it and to say, "Hey, look, these are strategies that work. Here's an entire book on different strategies. Maybe not every single one of them is going to work for you, but there may be one that is. And that one might be a game changer for you. And take the rest of the stories and figure out what you can do with them to make them work for you, because we all do have such different and unique voices in this. I interviewed Jake Vermillion last week for this, and it's so fun to hear his approach. I purposefully have not read anyone else's chapter. I want to read it when it comes out in the book so that I can feel like I'm learning right along with everyone else. And I know that in doing so, there are going to be tips and tricks in there that I'm going to walk away with that will change the way that I network. So for you two, what one piece of advice would you give someone who's about to walk into a big networking event, say MBA annual, perhaps? And what advice on networking would you give to them?
Be honest. If you're new, you're new. There are many of us that want to help you, talk to you, introduce you to people, and just make the move. Just step in and get out of your head. Step out of your head. So
So good.
I think that it just takes that determination in that moment, and have a notepad ready, because you're going to meet a lot of people. And feel free, like I said, reach out to all of us. We, especially LaDonna, is a road warrior, and we might not have the ability to hang all day, but we will most likely, absolutely spend 5 minutes to say hi and help if we can. So use resources to reach out, try and find a friend in advance. You can
Oh,
do
I
it.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Liz, what about you?
I mean, my advice is say hi, right? Say hi to the person that's sitting next to you. Say hi to the person that you're in the elevator with. Say hi, as Lindsay has taught me, and LaDonna, you're so good at it, the person on the bus, in the airport, or next to you on the airplane, right? You don't know who or how that person can impact your life. And so, especially at an event that's as big as MBA Annual, I think it's so important to not just show up with a strategy of maybe I shouldn't call it a hit list, but a list of people you would like to connect with,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But to also organically just meet people, right? It's not
Mhm.
about who is this person? How can, just don't do the name tag look, right? Organically and curiously ask someone, hey, who are you? Tell me about you. Why are you here? Or to Lindsay's point, did you hear about whatever thing happened today? Hopefully good thing. And I think just that saying hi and being curious opens up so many more doors than just booking strategic meetings. The last thing I'll say is some of the best people that I've met and some of the best connections I've met have been in the bathroom, in parking garages, walking to and from different events, or, being early or walking in late. So just, take advantage of those kind of one-off moments and build connections there as well too. Even if you're just swapping business cards, it goes a long way.
You never know who you're going to connect with. And I can't believe I haven't told you ladies this. To be fair, we've all been running around crazy, but I have a speaking session by the time this episode airs, I'll have just come out of it. But I'm doing a speaking session actually at an event in Pennsylvania where I changed my topic to taking your network to the max. And it will be all about this framework of the various tips and tricks that I have of what people can do. But I think hearing from you both, you sharing your perspectives, your insights is just so invaluable. What is one thing that in looking back over your career, a lesson that you've learned about networking that you wish you would have known earlier?
I can go first. I will say my biggest regret is that I didn't start building my network earlier. I was very reliant on the folks that I knew within organizations that I worked at. And I was very well known and respected in my local market, in the organizations, but there's so much power, and especially today, in having a wider connection that just gives you more opportunities. So, I mean, honestly, the biggest advice is I wish I would have started sooner.
I love that. It's like the plant a tree, right? The best day to plant a tree was
It's-
40 years
Yeah,
ago.
the second best
Success
day is
was
today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Same
sign up
thing
for
with your
that.
network.
Sign up for that event today, or agree to, go to that local thing that's in your town today. I think those things they really do move the needle a lot.
They do. What about for you, Lindsay?
I would have to say, just make the first move. Just make the first move. Put yourself out there, be authentically you. And I would say, be aware of what you're saying, because it is a nervous time. So practice makes perfect. It's okay to analyze the market, like Liz said. It's okay to do a little research, but I also think Excel spreadsheets, 3 words, Excel spreadsheets. I've done the business card reader. I've done all of the things in the past, 21 years. And if I had an Excel spreadsheet the whole time, I think that would be exported and imported to things very easily. So
That
if
is
in doubt,
genius. Excel it out. When in doubt, excel it out.
wow, I love it.
If people take away nothing from this podcast other than that, I will walk away a happy person.
That's a mic drop moment. That is perfect. That is perfect. Well,
Love
you
it.
ladies are phenomenal. Thank you again, both, for letting me be a part of it. Thank you for bringing those of us together who you did, because it's been really great to get to know a lot of them on networking side of things as well, and the opportunities that are presenting themselves because of that. So thank you both for being the connectors that you are. Tell people where can they find you? Where's the best place to connect with you?
The best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I am the Liz Short. If you search for me on LinkedIn, you can also find me on my website, theshortsolution.com.
Perfect. Lindsay, what about you?
You will find me tagged on Liz's page, the Liz Short. I'm on LinkedIn, Lindsay Meyer. My maiden name's Springer, so sometimes that gets confused in there. So literally, if you find Liz, you'll probably find me. But you can look for me too.
You can also search for the book on LinkedIn. We do have a LinkedIn page. And from that, you can connect to both us and all of the other authors, as well as find links to ordering the book, how to connect with us, have us come, or any of our other authors speak. So a lot of different ways you can engage with us on LinkedIn.
Amazing. I know LinkedIn is our jam. It just is.
It's the best.
It is. It really is. I am team LinkedIn all the way. Thank you both so much for being here. We really do hope that you will go out, find the book, buy the book. It's on Amazon. Again, rethink everything you know about networking. It is going to change the way that you approach networking and your business, and probably your life, to be honest.
Yep.
So
we want to hear about it.
Yes, we would love to share your success stories. Nothing makes me happier than when I get those DMs from people who are like, "Hey, by the way, you talked about this. It changed this for me." Please let us share in your successes. It keeps the momentum growing, and we would love that. So thank you again, both, for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll make sure to like, review, and subscribe. Go follow my ladies on their LinkedIns. And until next time, keep taking it to the max. Yeah.